got to help me. I can't do it all by myself. No, you got to help me, baby.
Exactly how many? We'll know. Just line up, just line up. We'll know exactly. All right, please, please, please. It's too many meetings. It's too many meetings. All right? We're really, now, here we're asking you in line, please. You guys are talking in line. Please, your question. Your question. This is what we're asking for, is your question. Now, Brother Stan will rule you out of order if you want to make a statement or a speech, but your question.
Thank you. And no comments. If we hear comments, we're taking the mic. We're getting to that point now, okay? We got to respect everybody's time. Yes, sir. My question is to the captain or the inspector general. Is it LAPD policy to ever strike a victim that is handcuffed? Thank you.
If a suspect is handcuffed and subdued, no, we would not. That would not be authorized to do.
My question: is there such thing as constitutional policing?
That's a very big issue with Commissioner Mack and the rest of the commissioners. Is the constitutional policing issue and ensuring that the police department actually respects the rights of every individual, regardless of race, gender, religion, whatever.
Next question.
Is there such thing as the good faith doctrine that the United States Supreme Court backed good faith doctrine? Meaning that the police can do things and they say that they did it under good faith. Good. And the Constitution has nothing to do with it.
The Fourth Amendment search and seizure issue is a good faith. It's an issue different than the issue here as far as use of force. But there is a good faith doctrine. It's an entirely different system. It deals with whether or not there's a particular search of a house or a location and what the intent of the officers were doing that. But it doesn't really apply to the issues we're talking about here.
There are new policemen brought into our community. I know you sit down and do a shift exchange every morning and you do briefings on what's been going on in the neighborhood and in the community. What I would like to see is when you bring in policemen, not only do you do the briefings, but I would like to see them come out more and learn the community instead of judging a book by its cover by what they've been told of what's been going on in the community over years and years. I would like to see them participate more and get more involved with the community. I have a 14-year-old son and he told me yesterday, I need my house keys and I need my ID. Now, he was real frantic about it. I said, why do you need your ID? He said, in case I get stopped by the police. And that just flattened me. He's 14, he shouldn't have to worry about being stopped by the police. So I would just like to see, is there a way that you can kind of get your officers and to plan something where we can get to become more acquainted with each other in the community so that there's not so much police brutality and racial profiling in the community going on?
That's something that Stan and me are working on. We're trying to get a meeting set up for the first phase of that again with his foundation, and we'll be working towards doing that.
You know, it occurs to me as I was sitting here listening tonight that outside of Venice, outside of the west side, there are 3 communities in Venice, 3 neighborhoods that people know about. Oceanfront Walk, and people hear that it's hip and entertainers and all sorts of stuff. Venice Canals, they hear it's idyllic and it's unique. Outside of Venice, when people hear about Oakwood, they don't hear what's true about Oakwood. They hear one or two things. They hear high crime area, a lot of gang stuff, crack, or they hear, oh, that's a place where you can get a steal on a nice house and you can make it in the market. But that's not the truth about Oakwood. And we, as a city government, the tourism industry in Los Angeles, the real estate market in Los Angeles, even the LAPD, we don't talk about Oakwood right. We don't enough say Oakwood is a community where you can find families that have lived there for 4 or 5 generations. We don't often enough say that Oakwood is a community where people still talk to each other over the fence, or where people walk and don't drive to church, where people play checkers or chess in the park, and where people hang out. And part of what we as a city need to do better is make sure that everybody in Los Angeles, and particularly new officers who come in, know that the way you think of Oakwood is not as a high crime area, but as a place with rich history and strong families. Now, not everyone gets to know Jatan Valentine or Stan Muhammad for 15 years. But there's ways to teach them that, and I would like to challenge the arts organizations and the community organizations in Venice, and I'll try to match it with some cultural affairs money, to try to get young people in Venice to do oral histories, and to try to find a way to have videotapes that we can show the real estate industry and the LAPD. This is what Oakwood is really like, and so that the truth about Oakwood is known. The other thing that this touches on is the Park Advisory Board and the Oakwood Park. A lot of people have issues about how all this plays into stuff. The Park Advisory Board has not worked or has not worked out over a number of years. What I'd like to see is what Pastor Allen said at the beginning, is we've tried certain things again and again, they haven't worked. So let's try things differently. I'd like to do what Naomi has suggested, which is that we do a community action board that focuses on the Oakwood Park. And it's sort of like a super PAC. We need to bring people in from the different parts of Oakwood. We need to bring in the people who walk their dogs and the people who play checkers. And we need to discuss what goes on at that park. But we need not just a park director in that. We need the senior lead officer there. We need either a Human Relations Commission person or someone with negotiating skills like Naomi, so that we can actually have a thorough dialogue and clear the air. So that's what we'll try to do.
Sorry guys, I have to highlight a few things. Most of you know me. Mike just mentioned that we have to establish a process where we go out and create those connections. Well, I have news for everybody here in the room. Those connections have been established. I've been in Venice working my butt off for the last 3 years, and each one of you out there knows me for that. And I don't have to prove it, but I just want to make sure that everyone here tonight knows that we're going to move forward. There's a few people in the room, and I'll get to you guys. I'm going to take 30 seconds. There's a few people in the room, speaking of collaborative partners, that have been here from the onset, meaning the time that the meeting started tonight. And I want to acknowledge those individuals because a lot of folks say that civic process doesn't work. Where it worked tonight, and it worked in terms of collaboration with Venice 2000, Naomi, and other members of the community. And so I have a list that I'm going to go over. I would like to start with Officer, can you hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Sheldon Cruz with the City of Los Angeles Human Relations Commission. And all of you guys know me. If not, I have more work to do. Okay, here tonight, directly from the Chief of Police's office, I want to acknowledge Fred Booker, who's been a huge support figure. Fred, are you here? He's in the back, he's raising his hand. I'm going to ask that we save our applause for last. I want to thank Valencia Thomas, also from the police chief's office. Michael Lockhart, are you here? Raise your hand, please. Sandra Mora, raise your hand, please. Kathy Bell. Anthony Alter.
My question is, why is it when they arrest you, they beat you up, then they want to take you in a room saying, if you want to sign this document, we'll let you go right now? That's my question.
I don't know what you're specifically talking about, but we can talk to you after and we can take a complaint if you're making an allegation of misconduct against the LAPD officer.
Hi, Captain Johnson, David Ewing. I want to get back to the question that the attorney, Mr. Crump, asked, which was about whether this officer is still on the street. I understand that there's a personnel question, whether he's fired or whatever, but in the meantime, his assignment, there's a question of how you can assure the community that their interest is foremost in your priorities. If you can't assure them that this officer is no longer out and about in the community pending the outcome of the investigation.
You don't even know who he is.
The department knows who he is. He's been identified. I will get that information from OWB and I'll report back to the community on that status.
There's a petition on change.org. It's on change.org. It's a petition to help in police brutality and to help drop on bogus felony charges. Just click on petition, change.org, and sign it. It's fast and easy. It takes 2 seconds. And then I had a question. So you said you had a plan, you guys have a plan to stop this traffic and skateboarding. What's the plan?
I don't know if I said I had a plan to specifically stop traffic, but
What plan were you talking about?
no, if I remember the question, I think somebody was talking about how are we going to interact with the community, and I said Stan and myself and several officers from my station, we're going to create some of these meetings so there's interaction between the community at the grassroots level of police officers as well as the community to discuss these issues as it relates to skateboarding and all those other issues.
You said that you guys have been getting complaints, and so there's a procedure. You said that you guys have been getting complaints from people in the traffic saying that people are messing it up. I don't know what they're doing because I've been doing it for 23 years, never been stopped, haven't seen anybody get stopped. And so you guys have a plan for this. And I just wanted to know, when did it start? What was the plan, and what did it start with Ron?
I misunderstand. We have it's called the Master Traffic Plan. And basically West Traffic looks at all our A's and K's, all the traffic collisions that involve pedestrians as well as vehicle versus vehicle. And we look at those intersections in different places within the command where there's traffic accidents. And then we do enforcement as it relates to that. In addition to that, we get citizen complaints all the time about vehicle speeding, running stop signs, all different types of traffic violations. And we also deploy to do traffic enforcement related to those.
Yes, Rick Seaman, I'm a candidate for LAUSD School Board from this area. I will speak into the mic. And I'm here not just to look at, quote, police brutality, but the institutionalized racism in Venice by LAUSD, by VNC, and by Oakwood Parks. These people have no complaint process. VNC responds to all complaints, just 1 second please, as non-actionable based on prejudice against all people who file complaints in Venice. Oakwood Park does the same thing. We have to work together and get these groups involved, otherwise this is not going to solve the problem. Okay, my question is, I would like to hear from VNC regarding their policy of denying all grievances as non-actionable based on prejudice.
Is anybody here? President is in the house.
And so is the Chambers for Education Chair, who's not here. No, my question goes to LAUSD, Oakwood Parks, and VNC.
What we need to do is, at the next Venice Neighborhood Council meeting, that needs to be brought up.
I have a question regarding the process of the investigation. Why two parallel investigations at the same time? IA has the ability to refer an indictment. Inspector General's office has the ability to refer it. Why two parallel investigations? What will be your timeline? What will be the LAPD's timeline? And will these two intertwine?
I think I answered that question earlier. Professional Standards Bureau has taken over the use of force, part of the investigation, and it will be done concurrently, the use of force and the allegations of biased police.
I don't think you understand my question. You have two parallel investigations going on at the same time. Not anymore. So now everything goes through IG? Okay, thank you.
My question is, why beat the heck out of the guy when he had He's on a skateboard on the wrong side of the street. I don't understand it. What the heck is all about this? You know, this is stupid. Whatever happened. Could have been a flare-up that happened in Watts, right down here in Venice. What happened? Come on, wake up.
What's your question, sir? Oh, he said, why was the guy beat up? Why was he beat up?
I think it's important to allow the investigation to conclude and we'll review those facts after the investigation.
Can we have order? Let's have order. Let's have order. Let's respect the process.
Hello, I have two questions that I still have not heard answered. The first one is, and I can understand why your investigation might take 6 months. I want it to be thorough rather than fast. But I want these problems to be solved. And they haven't been solved in all the years I've been in LA. They continue. And we remember that Rodney King, that investigation and trial took more than a year. But we see what the outcome was. So the time it takes is no indication that we will receive justice. My first question is, why did it take 6 hours for this man to receive medical treatment, and what did he have to sign before he received it? Okay. My second question is, I understand this was the Violent Crimes Task Force. Okay. I would expect them to be solving violent crimes, not creating them. So my second question is, what was a Violent Crimes Task Force in Venice during pulling over a kid on a skateboard for, if it's a traffic violation, is one I see committed dozens of times a day, every day in Venice.
I forgot your first question, sorry.
I'll explain it. Why did it take 6 hours for this guy to get medical treatment?
I was told that an RA unit did respond to the scene.
And what did he have to sign?
What did he have to sign to get medical treatment? Because that sounds like there's a word for that. It's criminal.
Paramedics responded to the scene.
Here's what we're going to do. The next time, right now I'm in charge of the meeting as the facilitator. The next time we hear the outburst, we might as well just shut the meeting down. If y'all want to fight with law enforcement, y'all fight with it. But Venice 2000 is not here to fight with you. The bottom line is this. We don't have enough time to deal with the crux of the matter. This is not a courthouse. This is a community town hall dialogue. And in dialoguing, we have to respect each side, period. Whether we like law enforcement or not, we have to respect the process. All right, and let's respect everybody in the room. If I start screaming and hollering at you, you're not gonna like it, regardless. So let's respect the process. We have an attorney present. We have a brother who was beat up present. This stuff is dear to our hearts. And I'm speaking on behalf of Venice 2000. Y'all know what we've been doing all these years. So it's not about likes and dislikes, it's about respecting the process, man. So let's do that. All right, and get up out of here, and then we can come back at the next meeting and continue the dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I have to say thank you. I am so grateful to your family for standing up for all of us and to be the catalyst for change and healing. So my heart and my love goes to you. I mean, we're all first of all, my name is Shelly Gomez. I am a new community member. I am one of the unhoused, or what some people might say is homeless. I live on the beach and my partner is Abraham. And my question has to do with what I've observed about selective policing, selective protection, selective service. Last Friday, Abraham was arrested by a citizen facilitated by 4 mounted police and your special force. My question is, how is it that a citizen, one, can arrest a man for playing his drum? Two, how is it policy that when a man is arrested, that he will sit in handcuffs and shackles in the jail for several hours without access to water or a restroom, which was experienced by several people, and also sensitivity training. If you want constitutional enforcing, then what sensitivity training is happening on the police force? Because as I waited for him to be released to me and receive our drums back that they would not allow coming to me, one of your desk sergeants told two 10-year-old boys that wanted to check out the jail that he didn't want to go back there because there were homeless people back there and they smelled and it was dirty. So my question is, sensitivity training, what's happening in that? And are there trends that you're going to be selectively listening to residents as opposed to the unhoused when they want a citizen's arrest, and really does it need 12 officers to enforce that arrest? Thank you.
Obviously, I can't speak to the specifics. I wasn't there. I was aware of the arrest. What you have to understand is when a private person makes or demands an arrest, we have an obligation to process that arrest, or else we're in violation of the law. We had no other choice but to process that arrest. Obviously, he was released from the station along with the drums.
Yeah, after being arrested. You have a question, sir? Just get in line. No, process.
I have a couple questions. First of all, did you see the video? Yeah. Do you think it was okay? Okay,
Lydia Ponce, I'm doing a power play. I'm going straight to the point for my questions. Ladies and gentlemen with the badges, I want to work with you to get our youth off the train track, off the tracks to prison, and make it easier for us to get our children, our youth, off gang injunctions. Make it harder to get on gang injunctions. We've been talking about this for a long time because the process is too hard. Are you willing to work with all of us in this room to make that happen? That's one question.
As I said at the beginning of the meeting, I'm committed to work with anybody in this room that wants to work for changes here in Venice and getting injunctions. That's part of it.
What are we going to do to help this young man with his PTSD? Because his 6 months of quality of life is in jeopardy. He may slip and we may lose him. Because the system is built to keep our kids out of college and not having a career and a quality of life that they deserve.
What do y'all want to do? Are we going to sit here and trip on LAPD, or are we going to get out? And get behind this young man. Okay. All right. That's what we need to do.
Hello. My name is Jackie Smith. My question to you, Captain. Why is the special agent force is in Venice, especially the Oakland area? Do it go to past Lincoln on the other side?
As I stated earlier, they come to Venice typically on Saturdays because of the influx of people coming into Venice Beach. They work the entire division. Sometimes they're up in the Palms area where we have burglaries and burglary for motor vehicle as well as GTA problems, and so we move them around all over the division. They're not exclusively in the Venice-Oakland area.
Who ordered them to come down and why?
Again, it's a resource issue. we all, as commanding officers from all the divisions, kind of fight to get them to come in to help us, because when we know we have an increase in call load and activity in the area, we just don't have enough police officers here in Pacific. And so it's a balance within the Bureau. And again, primarily they come on Saturdays because we know Saturdays are a very busy time for us at Venice Beach. And again, just because of the sheer number of people that come in to the Venice area to enjoy the beach.
I'm Lisa Green. I'm an artist on the boardwalk, and one of the reasons why people come here to invest in our community and to release. I'm also defined as homeless, for the record, in our culture. My question is about use of drugs. Are officers tested for drug use? And the drugs I'm really focusing on are the ones that create aggressive behavior, steroids, and things similar to that. How often, and what's the treatment involved? Because I see a lot of aggressive behavior, and I think a lot of it's tweaking and the steroids.
The LAPD has a zero tolerance for drugs. We are randomly tested, and if you test positive for a controlled substance, you'll be immediately terminated.
So, are police who go through these kind of things drug tested? After? Like, is it a procedure, or it's not a procedure, you guys don't test them, or what?
Unless there's some indication that they're exhibiting signs of being under the influence, it will still be on a random basis that they're drug tested.
Why was the crime for stopping a skateboarder?
The specific section is actually 21956A of the vehicle code, which is a pedestrian in a roadway. Somebody riding a skateboard in the roadway falls under that section of the vehicle code.
So is it everything on wheels? Skateboards, bikes? It's just skateboards?
Bicycle is considered a conveyance, so there's a different section.
Okay. And earlier you said that as a captain, you believe that you are not really aware, I guess, that there's corruption from your team, and when there is corruption, you are 100% behind them being, like, not punished, but like held up to their consequences. So after hearing all this, and there's going to be way more stories to come and things and complaints, do you still think your team's correct?
Obviously, again, I can't comment on the investigation. Absolutely, there's something to look at. That's why we're conducting the internal affairs investigation.
Not just this, though. The whole police force. This is backwards. There shouldn't be this many people.
If there are specific issues of employee corruption, it will be investigated by internal affairs. And if they're found to be true, those people will be removed from the organization. And absolutely, I support that.
I guess my daughter's question is really, what she was asking is that when police officers are involved with shootings or alleged aggressive behavior, is there a policy in place that tests those individuals? Because our feeling in the community is that, you know, if I'm involved in something that's, you know, violent, that's one of the first things that happens to me is you're going to test me to see if you can eliminate that I was being influenced by drugs. Our assertion from the community is that our observation is that these officers are almost inhuman in their aggressiveness and their meanness in terms of how they protect and serve. So it seems to me that one of the things that we want to do, just for their welfare and ours, is to say, you know, when an officer is involved in this type of activity, we're going to test it, just so that we can eliminate that as a reason for the type of behavior we're seeing. And so myself and several community members, this is going to be one of the issues that we're going to really press for in terms of internal police policy. So I just want to kind of make this clear because it's so important. If these officers are not under drugs, that's great to know, right? If they're not racial profiling, that's great to know, because then we can say, you know what, they're doing their job. But if they are under the influence of steroids or the like, then we need to address that, just like we do in sports and any other place. So I'd like for you guys to really start considering that. Expect to hear that from me as Ron's father and now a very vested member of this community in terms of change. Okay?
about that time, ladies and gentlemen. And we can have another group agreement, but if we continue this, we're going to be here all night.
Got to help me. I can't do it all by myself. No, you got to help me, baby. I can't do it all by myself.